Hi guys, today I wanted to bring to you a video about my travel makeup. I just recently went on a weekend trip for my husband's business and I wanted to show you what makeup products I brought with me and how I pack them to maybe give you some ideas about how to pack your travel makeup whenever you travel. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so first off, whenever I travel, I use this bag that I got from Victoria's Secret. It's just a really nice square bag that's kind of like a plasticky material, so it wipes out really easily and it stores quite a bit of stuff in it. When I'm going on a weekend trip, like I just did, I'm able to fit all of my makeup and my makeup brushes in this bag. If I go on trips that are like a week long, say like when I was in college, when I'd go home for Christmas, I would usually pack my brushes in a separate bag because I like to pack more makeup to have more options for a longer period of time. But for just a weekend trip, this bag works great. So first off, I usually like to pack my makeup in the order that I apply it. That way is pretty foolproof because if you pack it in the order that you apply it, you're less likely to forget something. I did actually end up forgetting my eyelash curler and I was a little upset, but there's worse things that I could have forgotten. So let's go ahead and start off first with primer. The primer that I took with me this last weekend was the Maybelline Baby Skin Primer. I've talked about this primer a lot. I really like it. I just like the texture of it. I like the way that it makes my skin feel. Plus, it's a little bit smaller than my other primers. A lot of my primers are 1 ounce and this is 0.67 ounces, so it's great that it takes up less space in my bag. So just go ahead and just drop everything in. Next, I just took one foundation with me for the trip. Even though I love foundations, I figured since I was only there for 2 nights, it was a little obnoxious to bring more than just one foundation. So the foundation I brought with me was the Bare Minerals Bare Skin Foundation. I haven't talked about this foundation yet on my channel, but I absolutely love it. I've had it for maybe 2 or 3 months. I got it right after I started working at Ulta. And the thing that I love about this foundation is no matter what, it gives you such a light feeling on your skin. You can do 1 to 2 drops and just get light coverage, or you can go all the way up to 5 to 6 drops and get full coverage, but it's still very lightweight on your face. Another great thing about this foundation is it's very natural looking on the skin. So if I apply this and don't apply any blush or bronzer, my skin still looks really nice. There's a lot of foundations where if you don't apply any other face products, it'll give your face kind of like a ghostly one-dimension look and it kind of doesn't look very natural. But this does look natural even if you don't use any other face products. So I figured it was great no matter what circumstance that I was wearing it in. The next product that I like to put on after my foundation is my concealer. And so I packed 2 concealers with me, but they were both the Maybelline FitMe concealers. One was just in a lighter shade for highlighting my under eyes and down the center of my face. And then the other one is more skin tone, which is good for concealing blemishes or using as a concealer when I don't feel like highlighting my under eye area. So I just packed both of these and they worked out great. I used both of them during the trip. And then after I apply my under eye concealer, I always set that with a setting powder. And so the powder that I brought with me was just my Wet n Wild Color Icon contouring palette. So this is great because it has 2 products in one. So I don't have to pack a separate highlight powder and a separate contour powder. They're just both right in here and it was really compact and easy to use. After I set my under eye powder or my under eye concealer with that powder, I always move on to my eyebrows. So the eyebrow product that I packed for the trip was my Too Faced Bulletproof Brows. I really like this because I can either get a very bold brow with this product or I can get a very natural brow. And it's great because the pomade kind of has a hold to it, so I didn't have to bring a separate brow mascara to hold my brows. I could just use this one product. So that's one thing to look for when you're traveling, is look for products that kind of have multi-uses or multiple products in one palette. That way things are usually more compact. So then after I do my brows, I usually move on to my eyes. The product that I brought with me was my NYX HD concealer. I know I just talked about my Wet n Wild Fergie, sorry, not concealer, this is primer. I brought my NYX HD primer. I know I just talked about my Wet n Wild Fergie primer in my last video. The problem is, because I live in Utah, whenever I get back from traveling, the difference in air pressure up here usually forces a lot of product to squirt out of the tube after I'm done traveling, and it wastes a lot of product. So I like to look for products that don't come in tubes, because then I don't have wasted product when I'm done traveling. So I just packed this primer, and it works really well. Not as well as the Fergie one, but it still works really great. So then after that, I packed my eyeshadows, and the eyeshadow palette that I brought with me was my Too Faced Natural Matte Palette. I mentioned this in my last favorites video as well, and I've been loving this palette. It just has so many great tones in it, and it worked really well for my trip. I did bring an additional eyeshadow though, because I knew we were having dinner one night and I wanted more of a glam shimmery eye, and so for that I brought my L'Oreal Infallible shadow in Bronze Taupe. This is like a pressed pigment. It comes in this container with a little stopper on it, but it's the most beautiful shimmery bronzy color, and it just makes your lids look so radiant, and so it paired really well with this palette, and I was really pleased with the look that I got from it. So just packed those two right in the bag with everything else. So this is how full the bag looks so far. I still got plenty of space in there. So after I'm done with my eyeshadow, I always move on to mascara. And so the two mascaras that I brought with me were my Benefit Roller Lash, because this has been my favorite mascara lately. So I packed that, and then I also packed my Covergirl Clump Crusher Mascara. This is what I wear every day on my lower lashes, especially I was in a more humid climate, so I wanted to make sure I had something that wouldn't transfer underneath my eyes. So this worked great for the trip. Alright, so after I'm done with eyes, I move back to the face. The first thing I usually do is contour. Because I've already packed my contouring powder in that palette, I don't have to pack anything else. And then after I contour, I usually move on to blush. So the blush that I packed for this trip was my Wet n Wild Fergie blush in the shade Brush with Destiny. I just thought this was the most beautiful springtime shade to pack. It's kind of a pink peach shade, and it has shimmer in it, and so because the blush was so glowy, I didn't feel the need to pack an extra highlight, because I felt like this already gave my cheeks enough glow. I almost did forget one other makeup product that I did end up packing for the weekend that I almost forgot to include in this video, is my MAC Prep and Prime pressed finishing powder in transparent. That Bare Minerals foundation I always need to set with a powder, so this transparent powder is a really great just pressed powder that'll set everything. So I did pack that for the weekend, and I did use it to set my foundation. Alright, as far as brushes go, I'll just run through them really quickly. I packed my Up Complexion Brush for my foundation. I've really been enjoying this brush lately. I then packed my e.l.f. pointed foundation brush for my concealer, my setting brush that I always use to set my under eye concealer. I packed my e.l.f. mineral powder blush that I usually use for contouring, my angled blush brush, complexion brush, and then my duo fiber brush. And then for eye brushes, I packed my eyebrow brush that comes with the Too Faced Bulletproof Brow Set, a fluffy brush, kind of a different fluffy brush that's a little more concentrated. This is what I use to set my primer, a flat shader brush, and then a more detailed brush that I actually use for my brow bone highlight. So this was all the makeup that I packed with me to go on my trip. Whenever I travel, I usually carry a larger like tote bag for a purse, and so I always just end up throwing my makeup in my purse, even if I'm checking luggage, because I have this fear of my airlines losing my luggage and then I won't have my makeup, so I always like to make sure that I have my makeup handy. I also did pack a few lip products just in my separate carry-on bag that I carry, I put it in my makeup bag that I usually keep in my purse. and I just packed, let me show you here. I packed my Maybelline Color Whisper. I have two shades. I have Coral Ambition, which is more of just a sheer coral color, and then I can't find Lust for blush right now, but that one's more of just like a sheer baby pink. So these were great because we were going more to like a beach destination, and I didn't want like full-on lip liner and lipstick, so these were just a great sheer wash of color that looked pretty natural. Alright, so that was it for my travel makeup. Please let me know if you have any comments or questions in the comment box below. As always, I will list all the products that I mentioned in this video in the description box below, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!